colder day in store for us. Joining us right now, Kathy Buckworth, our parenting expert. I was just saying I had my arm a little sore. We had our flu clinic here at the station yesterday. A lot of businesses are offering that to their employees, but you've got some great reminders as to why we're getting them done, and a lot of information that you're reminding me about that I had completely forgotten.
Right, it's a great time. Of course, I recommend getting the flu shot. It's such a great preventative measure. If not only for yourself, a lot of us are around very young babies or some older parents as well too, so it protects them too. It's not always just about us, so it's good not to pass on the flu. So you're absolutely right, easier than ever to get a flu shot. Walk into a drugstore, now you can do that, see your doctor, have work clinics, etc. So totally recommend that this time of the year. I also like to use the flu shot as sort of a jump off reminder point. You recognize this?
I do.
Can you find that, Leanne?
No, I know that it was yellow, and that's why I know that I can't find it, because I've been looking for a yellow piece of paper. But that actually is a great reminder, and this time of year is a good reminder.
It is a good, so the flu shot is, I liken it sort of changing the batteries in your smoke detector when we set the clocks back. So let's use the flu shot as a reminder to check all the vaccinations for our kids. One in particular I wanted to point out is a fairly new one called against pneumococcal disease. And that one is an infection that can cause meningitis, pneumonia. It's fairly severe. You should check with your doctor, of course, to make sure if you're up to date on that vaccination. A lot of parents, there was a study done that said we think we're up to date, but then we say, well, when's the last time they had this particular shot? A lot of parents don't know. So a good reminder at this time of the year to maybe check all the vaccinations and keep these records up to date.
I think we are so consumed by it as new parents. When you have all of the first couple of months, you're heading back to the doctor to get a variety of shots, but once they're kind of older, it trails off.
You forget, yeah.
Is it reminded in the schools? I mean, I know that we should take our own responsibility to figure it out, but when will we know as they're older?
A lot of school boards actually will send home forms to say, are your child's vaccinations up to date? And if they don't have record of it, they will make you prove it, or you have to have a letter explaining why you maybe chosen not to have vaccinations. So be prepared for that. It's always good to have the records in hand. If you have lost your card, go back to your doctor. They'll be able to fill a new one in for you and at least start you off on an up-to-date sort of basis. So,
And should you freak out when you realize that you might have missed a couple?
I don't know. Talk to your doctor. And I know, I don't think you should freak out. Don't freak out, Leanne. But talk to your doctor. Actually, you can also, a great resource I know is savvymom.ca. They have a schedule of vaccinations as well, easy to look up online.
Okay.
If your child falls sick, and I'll just fit this in really quickly here, because a lot of kids, you're mentioning your own kids were feeling a bit poorly this week, if they do fall down with the flu or a cold or anything like that, you know what, it's good to have some things on hand to entertain them. I'm big on, just because you're sick doesn't mean you can't learn, because there's those days where you sort of could send them in and they're getting bored and antsy. So I've got a Canadian curriculum book here. You can find that for every grade. Perhaps you haven't had time to bring their homework home because they were sick all of a sudden. Books about, for the younger kids, about the Berenstain Bears even get sick, so trying to cheer them up a little bit, keep them entertained. Quiet activities. I like quiz books as well for kids if they want to sit quietly on the couch. That's a great one. I recommend quiet video games, of course, nothing very jumpy and running around and stuff like that. No Dance Central 4 or anything probably when they're not feeling well. But there's some great games, crossword puzzles and, mysteries to solve, that sort of thing. I'm also big on pushing, I love this one, it's an old one, but an old favorite of mine, the HR Puff and stuff. And I don't recommend this in particular, but I recommend popping in a DVD, or if you're old school, a video versus just letting them watch TV all day. And that way you can monitor it a bit more. You really don't want them.
There's a start and an end point, which I'm finding I ran into yesterday. It was almost like okay, how many shows? That was 4 shows, I think, that they just sat through.
Exactly. And moms and dads are busy, and we want to say, like, just give me half an hour so I can get this call done or this work done. But then you're right, it stretches into like 2.5 hours. So sometimes it can be better to say, you know what, you watch this movie for a while, I'm going to get some stuff done, and we'll be back and we'll do some reading or stuff after. It puts a schedule sort of to it, which I'm big on. Scheduling that sort of thing.
That's why you're the expert and actually are a great reminder of so many of these things. So a quick recap, definitely, you reminded me too, I had the flu shot done yesterday, but for some reason I haven't quite looked into booking my kids in. So that's one thing to get the whole family involved, get the immunization record up to date, remind yourself of what's available, and then of course some great ideas.
Yeah.
They're going to get sick.
They are. Be prepared a little bit. Have some new things at home for them to do.
Perfect. Always a pleasure.
Thanks
so much.